Stand for the pledge of the flag. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. We'll start out with asking for a motion to approve the village board meeting minutes from August 15th, 2019.
Moved.
Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. Citizens' comments. Seeing no citizens, we'll skip by that, and we'll go to trustees' comments, and we'll start with Andy.
All set, just the agenda?
Agenda looks good with me, too. Yeah.
Meg?
Just the agenda.
Bruce?
I'm good.
Agenda.
I'll stick to the agenda. Thank you.
I got a few things. It's not me.
Answer
It's
that.
not mine.
No, it's mine.
Turn your ringer off.
Yes, I did.
The Ghost Walk, which was very popular last year here in the village, which is a product of the Center for the Arts, is scheduled for October 4th through 6th, and they need volunteers. So anybody who would like to work the tent where everybody gathers, or if you would like to be a tour guide, this is your chance to step forward. Give Jim Dale a call at 374-0958, and that's a 315 number. And they are saying that last year they sold out of spots, and if you're going to buy tickets, you might want to buy them early. We lost a pretty good guy. He wasn't a Bville guy. He was from Liverpool, actually. Ed Muttley Payment. But he worked several years over at the Visitor Center as a volunteer. I think he also might have worked over in Phoenix and their waterfront. But he was always at the meetings before the season, after the season, full of ideas, very helpful kind of guy. And I'm guessing that the people that run the center, the chamber, and all the people involved are going to miss Ed being around. He was, again, very nice guy. So thoughts out to the family for that. We discussed the issue of school cameras, in the school buses, and I think at this point, got something from NICOM the other day and basically said that the governor had not yet even signed that into law. And there's still a lot of confusion whether the county will take that. So I think what I'll do is let the school district know that at this point, it's not clear enough for us to make a decision on what we're going to do. It's very confusing how we would police it in the village, who would police in the two towns, and some of the buses pick up people outside the village, then pick up people in the village. It's not very well defined on how the things should be taken care of. And I did ask NICOM for some leadership, and they said they really had gotten no information on it yet. So just so you're all aware, I'll let Jamie Rodhams know that we have, at this point, have no intentions of getting involved in that program. Did meet last week with the shared services group, the mayors and the supervisors. I've asked Steve, I'll ask Mike, Mo, everybody to consider ways. We've done stuff where we have some of our tax bills are printed by the county and we save money that way, and so on and so on. But we've done this for so many years. Really, it's not like we can just suddenly invent something new to share money with or share services with. The bigger picture, I think, from the discussion was people are thinking maybe the county needs to get involved in some sort of huge healthcare program where everybody would sign up, and you would, because there would be so many people in the program, you would get it cheaper than what you can get it negotiating as an individual municipality. So the date to give stuff in, I think, is September 24th. So we will try to come up with some things. It's just, we did the last time, we turned in 6 or 7 ideas, And Steve had given me a list of, this is the stuff we've already been doing. It was a page and a half of ways that we share services. And you can't use anything you've already done. So we're really limited. Just so you know, if you hear anything, there has been some discussion on shared services. Chris Cullen, the Ballsville Ambulance Corps, been honored by the state EMS as the Advanced Life Support Provider of the Year for this region. If you go to their banquet, and they give awards for hours, and he's just a steady walk up to the front to get a pin, to get a certificate, he obviously is very active in the ambulance corps, so hats off to Chris, who has been recognized by the state. And I'd like to congratulate Greg, except he's not here. Greg went to Florida last weekend and got engaged. So, and you see what's happened off the coast of Florida since he's been there. So, a little warning, Greg, but Greg will probably be here eventually, but that's all I have. So we'll move on to department heads.
Just a couple of things. I was talking with Greg about 51 Salina Street, which was on the agenda for last week. He has made inspection. The notice period is up between this meeting and the next meeting, so he will be reporting to the board and asking for a recommendation at the next meeting relative to the building. The planning board has met relative to 5G and has come up with recommendations. I'm putting some things together to give to the board as far as recommendations of legislation that we might have in that regard. Relative to healthcare, if the village is interested, there actually is an organization. I shouldn't say an organization. There is a shared services agreement among various municipalities for healthcare. If the village is interested in that in which several municipalities are currently participating. So if that's something the board is interested in.
Yeah, if you would at least give me some information on it.
I represent them, so I can give you some information about that.
Good.
Other than that, I'll stick with the agenda.
All right. Greg, our code officer, has gone out to a fire. So up next is our clerk.
Well,
Oh.
just that everything's going smoothly with our training of our new person, Linda Ross. Our deputy will be, her last day is the 16th of September. And, but training's going good.
Very good.
Otherwise, I'll stick to the agenda.
Anna's not here tonight. The only thing that she mentioned to me was everybody should have their July financials, and that the first infrastructure payment from the county has been deposited. So that's always a good one to know that that has been taken care of. We'll move on the other side of the room. I'll go to Senior Center. Ruth?
Well, September is National Senior Center Month, and the theme for 2019 is Senior Centers, the Key to Aging Well, which is part of the reason why we do our walk in September. So the Walk for the Woods 2019 is set for Saturday, September 21st at 9 a.m. It's a rain or shine event. Anyone is welcome to join us. It doesn't take very long, and it's actually a fun morning. So come on out on the 21st, 9 o'clock, start at the Senior Center, travel up through McCary Town, and then circle back down to the Senior Center. You can get a registration form either at the center or on the Village of Ballsville website. Also, September means that several of our fitness classes are resuming, including yoga, aerobics, falls prevention, and Zumba Gold. So call the Senior Center for more details and get back into those programs, or join if you haven't in the past. And it's already time to say that it's time for flu clinics. Our first flu clinic is Friday, September 13th, 9:30 a.m. Please come in, bring all your insurance cards. You do not need to make a reservation, but just make sure you bring all your cards with you. There will be 2 additional clinics, one on October 11th and one on November 1st. All of them are on Fridays. All begin at 9:30 a.m. And our final concert of our summer entertainment series is Thursday, September 19th at 3 p.m. It's George Leah. He's a favorite, and come on in and enjoy that. That's open and a fun afternoon. And Mayor Clark will be with us at the Senior Center on Monday, September 3rd at 1 p.m. to lead a program called Down Memory Lane. bring in an item that is valuable to you and share a short story about that. And we're hoping that he's going to join us on a monthly basis through the fall. And that's it, unless anybody has any questions. Thank you.
Steve?
Nothing, just the agenda.
Okay. And Mike?
Just the agenda, that's Mark.
Very good. I will move on to pending business. Discussion possible action regarding the unsafe properties at 119 East Genesee Street. Should we hold off on this to see if Greg comes back? Is that something he's gonna have to be here for, Bob? If that-
Well, this is something, the property owners have been issued orders to repair, remove, and he and I had discussed this. No permits have been pulled, there's been no reaction to these orders, and so what he's asking for is an authorization for the Greg as code enforcement officer and then Steve as engineer to make the further inspection report the conditions, which is something that is part of the project that the village has been undertaking relative to these abandoned properties. So I think, I'm not sure that he needs to actually explain in further detail, just giving them the authorization to do that. He has found that there are violations or alleged violations. He sent notices, and there's been no response. So, and these are abandoned properties.
Okay, so we can go ahead without.
Yeah, when he left, he said that everything, it was pretty
Yeah,
self-explanatory.
So there's a motion listed here naming Greg inspector and Steve as the engineer to make further inspections and report the current conditions of the properties to the Board of Trustees. Also direct the code officer to notify the property owners they have the opportunity to hire an architect or an engineer to make a report of the conditions to the village Board of Trustees. Can you get a motion?
I'll motion that we name their names, that they already are. but, yeah.
I'll second that.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Well, I have
Aye.
a question.
Whoop, whoop.
Just as far as the direction, to direct the code enforcement officer to notify the property owners, Steve, you might want to answer this one. If we notify the property owners that they have the right to hire their own independent engineer, how much time do we lose if they move forward with that part of it?
I don't know, we haven't experienced that in the past. In the times that we've done this before, Greg does an inspection to identify whether the properties are indeed unsafe, and then he makes a little report regarding that. And I do an inspection to identify whether or not the properties are structurally sound. We've never had a situation where someone then counters that with,
What this is saying, I think, is that we're going to empower you and Greg to be our representatives to
Yep.
make the inspections, but that they have the right to hire
They do.
somebody independent. Does that mean they can do that at the same time? We don't actually lose time. You guys are going to...
not necessarily, and I don't know that the procedure has any set time periods, like from the day we issue a report to them saying, our findings are this, whether or not there's a time period where they can counter that by saying, well, we had an architect or an engineer review the report and we contradict your findings, or we reviewed the building and we contradict your findings. We've never had that, so I don't know. Bob, are you aware of anything regarding them hiring their own engineer or architect? And
Except it's in our code. In other words, they have the right to do that. We have to
Yeah.
authorize them to do that. And then if they have not come back by the time, with their report, by the time your report is presented to the board, then you can proceed.
Yeah,
So
okay.
I think the notice that's sent out by the code enforcement officer should indicate that, that they need to appoint a surveyor within 40 days after service of the notice.
okay,
So you got 40 days, they get the notice, you've got 40 days to complete the report, because it takes a while to go in and review and make the report. And that gets put back on the agenda for an order for demolition.
I think
Okay.
there
Yes, I
won't be
understand.
anybody going inside to inspect. This thing the inside of it is collapsed. It's in real bad
Right,
shape.
my main point was to make sure we didn't lose months waiting for them to respond to
No,
us.
no, absolutely
If
not.
we're moving
It's just-
independently, I'm fine with that. And
And I think Greg has had a lot of contact with these people
all right.
who think would actually prefer that we tear it down and then give them, put it on their taxes.
Okay, so then
And we've had successful experience over the last couple of years in going through this process and getting court orders for demolition
Okay.
with the costs added to the tax bills.
Do you assess engineering fees in addition on that?
We have, I give the time to Greg, and Greg has a way of billing them. I think it goes on their taxes. I don't think he,
Looking at engineering.
yeah, I don't even think he issues a bill. I think it, I'm not certain of
Yeah,
that.
I think we issue a.
Does he?
and then it
Okay,
goes on
all right,
taxes.
so he issues a bill.
It's approved, it has to be approved by the board, so it's submitted to the board. The board authorizes it, and then it goes on it's levied against the taxes.
Okay.
Very good.
In some cases, if there's a contested, in some cases, where there's contested litigation, those might even be part of a judgment, but at any rate, it's a lot easier to get it done on the tax roll.
Any more questions? We have a motion and a second, all in favor?
I mean,
Opposed? Carried. New business, item A. Can I get a motion authorizing the adoption of the 2019 Onondaga County Multi-Jurisdictional Hazard Mitigation Plan update? We do. I have a copy. I assume everybody has a copy of the
Yes.
resolution?
Yep.
Any questions for Steve?
Can I get a motion? You gonna read this whole thing?
No.
Oh, good.
We're going to accept that motion as written.
I'll move.
A second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. Item B. Get a motion authorizing the mayor to sign a contract with Onondaga County Community Development for partial funding of a project at the Canton Woods Senior Center to replace flooring in the community room and replace a room dividing wall. I guess we'll do each motion separate.
Moved.
Second.
Yeah, I think you should actually declare it to be a type 2 action before you authorize the action itself.
Okay. We'll move down to the second motion, declaring the proposed project to be undertaken at the Canton Woods Senior Center as a type 2 action in accordance with 6 NYCRR Part 617.5.
Moved.
I'll second that.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. And we'll go back to the first motion authorizing the mayor to sign a contract with the Onondaga County Community Development for partial funding of a project at Canton Woods Senior Center to replace flooring in the community room and replace a room dividing wall.
Moved.
Second.
We did get a letter the other day from the county saying that we had been awarded the community development grant, so. Okay, we have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. And we get a motion declaring the Village Board of Trustees as the lead agency regarding matters related to seeker.
Moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried.
I just think we should have done that first.
Probably should have done that.
Well,
Yeah.
yeah, that's really, in a type 2 action, there's no lead agency anyway, so that's okay.
Item C, motion authorizing the following budgeted overnight training of Baldwinsville Police Department members. Keyword being already budgeted. I'll just read down through these. We can do one big motion. Officer Jason Gwynn to attend the intermediate ICS for expanding incidents to be held in Cortland, New York from 9/24/19 to 9/26/19 at a cost not to exceed $50. Sergeant James Sarankowski to attend the Advanced Roadside Impaired Driving Enforcement Training Program to be held in Rochester, New York from 10/16/19 to 10/18/19 at a cost not to exceed $500. Officer Aurora Halsey to attend the A-Ride Training Program to be held in Schenectady from 10/20/19 to 10/22/19 at a cost not to exceed $500. Chief Mike Leffencheck to attend the International Association of Chiefs of Police Annual Training Conference to be held in Chicago, Illinois from 10/25/19 to 10/30/19 at a cost not to exceed $2,300. Sergeant Chrissy Allen and Officer Jenna Quattrini to attend the Officer Survival Tactics Training Program to be held in Oriskany, New York from 11/20/19 to 11/22/19 at a cost not to exceed $200. And Lieutenant Michael Lockwood to attend the Use of Force Summit to be held in Uncasville, Connecticut from 10/2/19 to 12/2/19 to 12/5/19 at a cost not to exceed $1,800.
Moved.
Hold on one second.
You skipped
You
over
skipped-
Jared.
Skip
Oh, I skipped
Jared.
right over Jared. Okay, I'm sorry. Officer Jared Zeppatello to attend the A-Ride training program to be held in Oriskany, New York from 10/23/19 to 10/25/19 at a cost not to exceed $500.
Moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. Thank you, Bruce.
That's what I'm here for.
How could I miss Jared?
So, you know, people staying home.
All right, so that's the end of our agenda. Anybody have any items that need to be brought up before we pay bills? All right, and I get a motion to pay bills as audited.
Moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. And I get a motion to adjourn the meeting at 7:52.
Moved.
I'll second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
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 Opposed? Carried. See you in 2 weeks.